Hello, welcome back to another stream from Tachyon Lands. Today we're going to be having a look at another ship design and fleet combination that I've been experimenting with during our multiplayer games, and I've noticed that this one seems to be very effective, at least in battles against the AI and also the crises, which we were playing last night in our multiplayer stream against the Praetorian Scourge on 10 times crisis. And this fleet was highly effective against them. So I wanted to test this against some of the fleets we've been using, and to just see how effective it is, to see if this could be a new ship meta. Okay, so let's look at the design. So here we've got our standard fleet we've been using in the last number of videos. It's standard battleship, kinetic weapons, artillery, similar for cruisers, good mixed spread of weapons. We've got our destroyers, PD defences, missiles, add a bit of variety in there, and we've got our standard close-in brawler type destroyers, good mix of weapons, corvettes, they'll swarm in, and then we've got some frigates running our neutron launchers. Now against this, what we've got is a fleet of cruisers and battleships. The battleships are like this. They're carrier battleships, strike craft. We've got a whole range of missiles. So I've picked all the missiles that I could fit on here, so that we can fire these at longer range while the carriers try to keep their range while using their strike craft to engage, to try and give us the maximum time to destroy as many ships as we can. Now the strike craft do shield penetration, armor damage, so I wanted weapons which will complement that. So the missiles go through shield, do hull damage, and go through the shield, so they'll damage the armor first, then the hull. So all these weapons will complement our strike craft. Oh, for some reason I don't have that. I'll have to fix that. Okay, so our battleships have the afterburners. Now I'm putting afterburners on so the battleships can try and keep range on the advancing fleet, try and pull back quickly and use their longer range weapons and strike craft as much as they can. The shield hardening or armor hardening may be better. I don't know, we'll try that if needed, if these fleets don't work, but that could be a possible improvement. And to complement the battleship carriers, we've got our cruiser carriers with strike craft, also got some PD defences, and once again missiles to complement the strike craft to get through those shields and do the damage to the armour and hull directly. Standard build out, once again the afterburners to try and keep range. So we'll test this out and see if this fleet can destroy our fleet, which over the last few videos has tended to dominate until we've found a really good combination to defeat it. So let's see how good on the first go. I've never tested this previously. Let's see what happens.
Hostile fleet assets engaged.
Okay, so for this fleet, we've got our same carrier and battleship fleet, no changes. This time we're running with a missile fleet with arc emitters. It's got a hangar bay there too. So we're going to try and use our longer range weapons to go through their shields. We want to try and take out some of these carrier and battleships as a whole. We're running with our cruiser Devastator Torpedoes with some long range weapons and also some disruptors when they close range. Destroyers, got the same missiles and PD flak defenses. Okay, we've got our destroyers, which have their disruptors and missiles. So once they're getting close, they can do damage to their hull, and they'll complement the missiles very nicely. Corvettes have a mix of missiles and disruptors. They'll complement each other nicely as well, getting close, swarm around the enemy fleet, and hopefully do lots of damage. And then we've got our frigates, same disruptors and Devastator torpedoes. And we used this fleet effectively in my last video, and it proved to be very strong and defeated that fleet that we saw the carriers defeat in just the last battle, which has been quite strong over the last few videos. So we'll go ahead and see how this goes. See if the carrier battleships can prevail once more. Strike craft launching. PDs and other fighters are getting into them. Still quite a lot of fighters there. It's not as one-sided as it was in the last game. Oof. Okay, so this fleet that was victorious yesterday, or in my last series of battle tests, the one with the missiles, arc emitters, because it's going through the hull, similar to the carrier fleet, but this fleet was far more effective, closing the range of the enemy and crushing them. I think it was the Devastator torpedoes doing a hell of a lot of damage there. So yeah, that was very one-sided fight again. That was the complete opposite of the first battle. So this fleet directly counters carrier and cruiser fleets. So if you're up against an opponent that's using lots of strike craft, this is the counter. Use a fleet composition similar to this, and you should win. But I'll change this up again. I want to see if we can improve upon this. See if we can get the strike craft back in the fight. Okay, so this time we've got just carrier battleships, 21 of them. Same design, except I added in, I put in one more PD defense. That was all, instead of a flak. That's all I changed on that one. And this is the same fleet that beat our cruiser and carrier fleet last game, last battle. No changes, same fleet, same makeup. Let's go through and show everything off so you can see what it is. Exactly the same. So we'll see if this combination works good against a battleship carrier fleet. Seems to be a little bit more even this one. So we are losing lots of battleships. Ugh. Okay, so what's doing the damage here? Let's have a look. Devastator torpedoes, focused arc emitters, yeah. Strike craft are down the list. Yep, Devastator torpedoes. Whirlwind missiles are doing pretty good as well. Although both sides have them.
Alert, fleet unit offline.
So it made little difference at all. So you can see the direct counter to this type of fleet for carriers is this type of fleet. Using a mixture of missiles, arc emitters, well, they got one strike craft. I think it's mostly close-in weapons, the Devastator torpedoes, which are, and combining them with other complementary weapons which go through the shields to penetrate the armor and hull, which is just utterly devastating. And this is the fleet we saw yesterday, which in my previous video did a great deal of damage. So these, it's these cruiser torpedoes again, which I put in my video for the meta. I think they're very, very effective. I might run a battle simulation on this type of one again, because I think it's the Devastator torpedoes which are being very effective. Okay, I'll run another battle. Okay, for this fight, I've got our cruiser torpedo cruisers, which have our Devastator torpedoes, which have been so effective in our last few battles, and it appears to be the Devastator torpedoes doing a lot of damage. These weapons should complement it against our pretty much our standard fleet, which have been using regularly. That's just a standard fleet. We'll see how it goes. They should do very well. So we've got some frigates, energy torpedoes, corvettes, so they can close in close range. Frigates will stay at a bit of range, so probably not the best combination here, but we'll see how it goes. You can see the firepower difference as well. There's a lot more firepower in this fleet, so it could be a one-sided battle. Could lose a lot of cruisers before they even get in the range. So they're going after the bigger ships, as they should. They need to close the range. Looks like they're firing the torpedoes now. It's hard to tell what's going on now. They are closing the gap. They're going after the battleships a little bit. Starting to lose quite a few though. damage at the moment. The Devastator's the third on the list. Kinetic artillery, small phase disruptor. Oh, it's damage to armor. Look at that. That's huge. So we're just not getting through to the hull enough. Okay, so you can see there that a single class of ship by itself can struggle against a well-rounded enemy fleet. Although they did do pretty good, they just couldn't get through to the hull to do enough damage. Probably the Devastator Torpedo is just too close fire, and that's why you need ships to complement them. So we'll try that again with a different fleet combination. Okay, for this fleet battle, we've got a little bit different makeup for both fleets. We've got our artillery battleships, quite a few of them, and then we've got 40 corvettes to go in and harass the enemy and keep them busy. So this is our main artillery battleship fleet. Hopefully they'll do a lot of damage with the corvettes running interference. Here we've got our cruisers, we've got Devastator Torpedoes. Hope they'll run in and do a lot of damage to the battleships, hopefully, if they get past all the corvettes. And our corvettes to complement our cruisers. So their corvettes may be more effective against our corvettes because our corvettes are designed to complement our cruisers. So let's see how this matchup goes to see if kinetic artillery is strong enough to overwhelm this fleet of cruisers. See, the artillery is pounding away the shields. Missiles are going for the battleships. Cruisers try to close the range of the battleships. There we go, the firing torpedoes, missiles. Let's pause the battle here. You can see now these corvettes seem to have been a lot more effective at destroying their corvettes. That's very interesting, because these corvettes have got the missiles and the shield and armor penetration, so they were going straight through to the hull. So there you go, these corvettes are very good at countering enemy corvettes. That was a good pick up, that one. Let's look at the damage. Kinetic artillery, Devastator Torps, small phase disruptor. The Devastator Torpedo is 59,000 damage. I think our cruiser fleet has won. Very convincing. Oh, that's just their leftover fleet. So you can see that, or some people think that kinetic battleships and kinetic weapons are the best in the new beta. Not the case at all. If you do proper testing and research it, it's cruisers with Devastator torpedoes with a bit of support. They're the ships that are doing the extreme firepower. I'm not sure why people keep insisting that kinetic weapons are still the best, because torpedoes do multiplicative damage, and the cruisers, when given support, so these cruisers with their Devastator torpedoes doing the multiplicative damage to battleships, they're just wrecking them. They're doing 5 times, up to 5 times the damage with those Devastator torpedoes, going straight through their shields, smashing their armor, and then smashing their hull. They're just absolutely devastating to battleships. So all you need is a fleet of screening ships for them to go in and do their work and take out the enemy fleet. So the correct fleet balance would include a good number of cruisers with Devastator torpedoes to go against pretty much any other fleet that has a large amount of battleships. It is far more cost effective. Cruisers are obviously cheaper than battleships, and they're going to do a lot more damage. And we'll do a couple more tests of this just to prove my point. Okay, so this time we've got a bit larger fleets with our battleships with kinetic weapons. We've got cruisers to support them with kinetic weapons. We've got destroyers, PD, and some missiles with a little long range. We've got our standard destroyers. We've got standard destroyers there to go in with a good balance of weapons. Corvettes as well. And we've got our frigates to support them. Against them, we've got our cruisers with the Devastator torpedoes, long range weapons and missiles. Now there is 22 of them. This fleet does not have battleships. We're going to see if this fleet can counter this fleet that does have cruisers and battleships. Then we've got our destroyers, same as the other fleet, got the same design. This design is different. This will hopefully complement our Devastator torpedoes, doing damage to the hull and armour. Same with our corvettes. Hopefully they go in and can do a lot of damage to their screening ships and get through their shields. I think disruptors are very effective on corvettes because they go right through their shields and armour and go straight to the hull. Because corvettes obviously have low hull, you can kill a lot of enemy corvettes. So just remember that. This is disruptors on corvettes, corvette killers, or even destroyers. You can see these destroyers with disruptors, they're going to wreck the enemy corvettes as well. And then we got our frigates. Once again, Devastator torpedoes, but don't expect the frigates to last very long. So let's see how this goes. This is a kinetic matter versus a torpedo matter. Devastator torpedo. A little bit quick there. Okay, so we've got our first range of shots off. Fleets engaging. Their battleships are trying to retreat, trying to stay at range. How they're trying to close. The cruisers are trying to close in. So the fleet. Remember they started with nearly 20,000 firepower advantage. Okay, let's look at the damage. The kinetic artillery is doing a lot of damage to the hull. Phase disruptors are getting through, doing to the hull. Giga cannon is doing a lot of damage, and then we've got Devastator torpedoes are starting to work their way into the fight. Devastator torpedoes to armor, so we're smashing the enemy's armor down. Then you've got kinetic artillery, you've got the whirlwind missiles, marauder missiles coming in third and fourth spot, then the Giga cannon. So this fleet has 3 of the top 4 damage dealers to armor, while small phased, that's a bit of that's all on our Devastator torpedo fleet. Then you've got the Giga cannon, so it's a bit of a split to hull at the moment. It's 2 for each side, 2 in the top 4 doing damage. See their screening ships are dropping. even though they had more of them. Still pretty close. The armor's nearly down. You can see the damage to the hull. Yeah, starting to go our way now, or at least the Devastator Torpedo way. Okay, clear victory. So, what we can see there is that the people that think kinetic artillery is the best for fleet combat are completely wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. The Devastator torpedoes with the new mechanics in the beta with the multiplicity damage on cruisers far more cost effective. You are doing up to 5 times damage with your cruiser torpedoes, right? Let's look at some of the math. So you're doing up to 254 damage times 5. So that's you're talking, you know, 1,300 damage up to 1,300 damage per torpedo hit, going through the shields, smashing the armor. So 1 or 2 torpedo hits on a battleship can pretty much take out all their armor, and then the rest is going to smash into their hull. Let's look at equivalent for a battleship, standard battleship. So they're doing 585 damage per hit to shields first, so they've got to get through shields. Now the shields on a cruiser well, 2,200, so you're going to get at least 4 hits to get through the cruiser's shields. Now the battleships do fire faster with their kinetic battery, so what's the cooldown? 7.15 versus 20.75, so they're going to get in not quite 3 shots. So while the Devastator torpedoes are going through the shields, smashing their armor down in 2 shots, and then they're hitting the hull, the kinetic artillery is smashing into the shields. They're going to at least 3 to 4 shots to get through a cruiser's shields. Then they're into the armor. Now you've got armor of 2,900, and the kinetic artillery is not that effective against armor, minus 50%. So it's going to take another, what, probably 5 to 6 shots of kinetic artillery to get that cruiser's armor down. Now, of course, you're going to have other ships will be helping and complementing, hopefully, if you're not just running battleships. But you can see here that you're going to need between probably 7 to 10 artillery shots to get through the cruiser's shields and armor. Whereas the cruiser is through the shields in probably a couple shots. Let's have a look. So shields, so they're going straight through the shields, so we don't have to worry about that damage there. So the armor is 5,000. So they're going to be doing up to 1,300 damage. That's plus 50% damage. Sorry, so we've got to add another 50%, so that's another 125. So let's say 375 times 5. So that's what, 1,500. What's that? Another 300, 375. So let's say 1,900 damage, roughly up to 1,900 damage per shot once they're through the shields. So that's 1,900. So that's, well, so that's 3 shots and you're done. So 5 shots and you're through to the hull. whereas the battleships need a lot more than that. They're going to need probably 7 to 10 shots. They do fire faster, but they're not going to do the same amount of damage. It's just crazy. Like, they will do damage to the hull, plus 25%, but you just saw in the battles, the artillery loses every time to a fleet of cruisers with Devastator torpedoes. So it's just a no-brainer. Now let's look at the cost efficiency as well. So a battleship with artillery will set you back roughly 1,700 alloys. Yeah, base price with nothing to make it cheaper. Devastator Cruiser is going to set you back 868 roughly. So that's at least 2 to 1 cost there. So we're losing. We had look at our fleet composition. So we had 22 cruisers in there, and we lost 8. So we've lost, what's that? 6,000 alloys, something like that. Give or take a few. They've lost, if you look at their fleet composition, they lost everything. To reinforce that, 38,000. To reinforce this is 16,000. So they've lost, more than twice as much alloys to what we have. So if I built, if you build a fleet of 20 battleships for the same money, I can build a fleet of 40 cruisers. So if you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, and I'll do some more videos, and I'll see you next time.